Welcome everybody to episode 80 of the effing title. And this week we have one of the oldest members of the Husky Nation. Now, from when he first started, one of the main guy that actually got me started into streaming. It is my good friend BubaBlackOps. How you doing, Buba?
Pretty good. Just hanging out.
I'm excited
Chilling.
for Candyman next week.
Oh yeah, that'll be good. I actually this afternoon went and watched Free Guy.
Oh, how was it? I've heard a lot of good things.
It was pretty good. I would say my main interest in actually going and checking it out was because of the cameo appearances of folks like Jacksepticeye and Ninja and whatnot.
Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of apparently a lot of the like YouTubers and streamers, like there's like a lot. I mean, obviously you know because you've done it now, but
Yeah.
apparently there was a lot of them in there.
Oh yeah. There was a bunch. Couple I wasn't familiar with, but you know it was good. I thought definitely too, like kind of the concept of it hit on AI as one of the main focuses or premises for the movie, which is always something that I'm interested in. So, but yeah, no, I'm looking forward to Candyman too. Smitty's is always a good time.
God, it's gonna be so good. I can't fucking wait. I would say I found it funny that when Free Guy first came out, positive reviews across the board, and everyone's like, "This is what a video game movie is supposed to be like," or they started doing that shit, and I'm sitting there like, "Well, of course this is going to be a good rated video game. It's not. There is no one had any expectation going into this."
Yeah, and it was hilarious too, the number of just branding advertisements that were in the movie, like. There was HyperX headphones and Alienware. And,
well, I was gonna say the amount of stuff that you could probably do with it must have been unreal. But like I said, I just thought it was funny how like there's all these different websites and everything being like, well, that's how you do a video game movie, and I'm sitting there like, oh, it's easy to do that versus like Assassin's Creed, where Assassin's Creed has like a loyal fan base, a dedicated lore, it has all this stuff, and Free Guy is literally a brand new idea. Not taking anything from anything and just going Ryan Reynolds.
Well, yeah, Ryan Reynolds, also the guy from Stranger Things, was in it. He did a pretty good job. The woman in it, who is one of the main characters, she also did a very good job in that role. I don't know, the acting was really good, but yeah, to your point, it was the first kind of broad spectrum. Hey, we're not doing a runoff of a video game title. We're actually just going to make a plot, and it came out really well, I thought.
And that was kind of the thing that I thought was funny about it, just like I said, because like everywhere was like, that's how you do it, that's how a video game movie should be. And I'm sitting there like, I mean, it's like are you fucking kidding me? Like, yeah, of course it's going to be, like, this is going to be a good one. There is no premise, like, there is no lore or, like, fandom connected to it. So of course it's going to do well, you know?
Well, what's that movie? It was like a World of Warcraft movie. I forget the name of the title.
Yeah, I mean they did a Warcraft movie. I think it's called Warcraft.
I enjoyed it. I was like, I don't know anything about World of Warcraft, but hey, it was pretty good.
Right, that's the thing is that like as an outsider, bro, like I'm watching that movie, and of course I'm watching Travis Fimmel, who I love because he was Ragnar, But like I'm watching it, and I'm sitting there like, yeah, this is kind of a cool movie, and then I look online, and everyone's like, this movie sucks because of this, because of that, and I'm sitting there like, I have no idea what any of that means.
I would say too, though, the culture has shifted significantly at that point in time. Like right now, in the entertainment industry, video games are number one. Back then, that wasn't the case, right? So like, I feel like there were little kids in the audience when I was there at the theater, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, it's Ninja!" And and I was like, "Yeah, good luck getting that kind of connection years ago." Like,
exactly, right? Like it's
just not possible.
Yeah. So I mean,
but yeah, no. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, for the good people out there that don't know you, because you have been a little bit MIA for a while. I was going to say, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I was streaming quite frequently when I was in college, my senior year. Kind of got into it actually a little bit right before you did, and then I reached out and was like, "Yo, you should try this." But yeah, I mean, I did a bunch of, at that point in time, more FPS. I also got into some open world MMOs. That was pretty fun. I did some Terra.
I was gonna say, what was the name of that?
For a while.
I was gonna say, what was the name of that really shitty one that you fucking Mike made me fucking play?
Yeah.
Fucking
Well,
terror.
I got on it before he hit me with it, but then afterward he was like, "Dude, you should go." Yeah, that was a whole nother thing. But
Yeah.
anyway, but yeah, no. Since college though, I tried, here and there. I'll hop on. I was thinking about it this weekend a little bit too, just because didn't have a lot going on. But I think the hard part now, I got a full-time job now, working as an electrical engineer, and it's just. I think you and I talked about this quite a bit too. One of the main focuses that I had, going from being in college to real life now is making sure I can make plenty of, extracurricular or interpersonal interactions and just like go out and do things. And obviously with COVID, that made things pretty difficult, but I was grateful that, the people I worked with and stuff, we were good friends. We were able to still kind of hang out and feel comfortable. Just because we all work together, so it's like, well, if one of us has got it, we all got it. So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but
one of us is fucked.
Yeah.
We're all fucked.
Yeah, so it was like, well, we all got to work together anyway, so whatever. Let's at least make each other have some sanity by doing something together. So, but yeah, I think for me now, streaming is definitely, honestly, like the kind of main topic for today. If I were to do anything, it probably would be more about Magic the Gathering based content. I know I have talked to you a little bit about it. I just haven't kind of taken the step yet because I feel like if I did, I would want to really make it one kind of the shift and focal point for any streaming content I do, and then two, I think I'd probably also want to, go through and polish off a lot of my like stream deck and go through and change my overlay and just kind of rework things.
Since you like were like streaming like every other day, daily, that sort of thing. How long has it been? Has it been a year now? Because I know because I was gonna say you came back and you did one or two here or there.
Yeah, I did that about 6 months ago or 8 months ago, but I wouldn't really say that counts as like the full time. It's been about 2 years really since I've done the consistent like hey every day or every other day for a couple hours at least. I haven't done a long one for forever.
I was gonna say that's a big one as well because coming back, it's like if it has been 2 years, let's just say 2 years, right? That's a big change in personality, the way you are, the way you do things, the way that you see things. Yeah. Like that's a huge big change. So I mean, like everything that you could have had set up, now you could be looking back at it and being like, God, that was so fucking stupid. Like, why did I want to do that? Like, let me do this instead now.
100% agree.
So I mean, it's like that is going to be the if you do come back, which I think I think it would be cool to see you come back and do some stuff with with Magic, especially because that's with not only with that being the main topic of this podcast tonight, but the thing that I know that you're kind of you dabble in a lot of other stuff, but Magic is kind of that's the go-to,
yeah, and I know 100% agree with you there. This weekend when I was thinking about it, I was just like looking over my stream overlay and everything, and I was like, geez, this is just not
What's funny, so my buddy Rob recently said, I forgot to put George on the screen as well, I'm sorry, George. My buddy Rob said to me recently, because I was doing TikTok, I started getting into TikTok and posting up TikToks and everything, he said to me about I should do a throwback day.
Yep.
And I was like, fuck it, yeah, let's do, on every Thursday, from now on, because I'm just uploading daily now, and it's just whatever, right? I do one stream, get like 3 TikToks, and there we go,
Yep.
So I've been doing some throwback ones, and it's funny because I found the Canada one, right?
Oh no.
Yeah, wait, does Canada have Canada? I found that one, and I was like, yes. I was like, yes.
So good. It was such a weird time for me too, because looking back at that, my entire shtick while I was streaming, mind you, it kind of worked, was being an asshole, essentially. like 110%. Just I'm gonna be biggest.
It was just you being a dude, like,
Awesome.
and it was just such a good moment because it was just like it caught everyone that was in the group off guard because like it was just a slip. You just slipped. You slipped from the personality that you were doing to just a genuine like. Well, they gotta have Canada in Canada, and then you can almost hear it in your voice afterwards, just right before I get into you, you know. But it's funny though because again, like I said, like I've been going back and looking at my old clips for the throwback stuff and seeing the old overlays and everything that I used to do. And I'm sitting there like, God damn, like.
Dude, remember when we were like so psyched about? Oh wow, this is free. This overlay is sick.
Holy shit! You see this dude? This thing fucking moves.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and I think like now, like I'd want to go through and do something that's like very hard focus, this like Magic the Gathering, right? Like completely have take the time and put the care and effort into it and make sure it looks really good, and then also too like clear out a lot of this fucking sponsorships that I have on my stream that just aren't relevant anymore. I don't know, there's a lot of stuff, but yeah, I think the main content would probably be like some arena stuff. Like I was mentioning to you, drafts are super easy to do.
Oh yeah.
You know, you hit your dailies and you can pop a draft and do that. And...
I mean, shit. I mean, I got on today, and my daily was play 20 blue-green spells, and I did it in one game. I was shocked that I did it in one game because normally, like, the way that with some of them, because like like, and we get into this more when we get into it. But the main deck that I have is a green-black deck right now. It's mainly green with a splash of black. So like, whenever it's any other color combination other than those two, it normally like takes me like 2 or 3 games because it's like I'm trying to figure out how to fucking use this deck that I've never used before, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like obviously, like if it's green or blue, I could use my green black deck, but it's just easy using a green blue deck at that point because it's you know, so I got that shit done in like one game though, and I'm like, god damn, like all right, cool, like.
Guess I'm done now.
Yeah, exactly, right. And also, I will say this because it is in chat. If you do need a new overlay update, or if anyone out there listening to this podcast right now wants an overlay update or needs an overlay update, I mean, he hasn't offered me one yet, but
Ooh.
I'm joking. My buddy, it's Xander. I'll leave a link for him in the description down below, so you guys can hit him up if you do want one. He does really good work across the board. All right, so let's get into the meat and potatoes of Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
I started thinking about this, and one of the first things I thought would be kind of a cool one is to talk about how we got into Magic, because I feel like I feel like Magic is one of those things that either people have heard of it before, they've heard of it, so they kind of know what it is. They've heard of it, they have no fucking idea what it is.
Yep.
Or they've played it at one point and they're still an addict, because no matter what, once you start playing, it's just you're gonna come back to it eventually. You know?
Yeah, it's interesting too because there's kind of two sides to it too in terms of like how you're getting the cards. First and foremost, for the most part, it all starts with you taking the jump, spending some money on this thing you know nothing about, and then depending on what you do, if you open a pack, you're like, shit, this is pretty fun.
Right? Yeah. The first few times that you open a pack, bro. Like I remember,
holy crap!
Like
that's a bunch of shiny shit in this thing.
Right, like opening packs, especially in real life, is a lot more cooler than on Arena.
Yeah.
But what I will say is this: is that like if you start getting into it, all right, and for everyone out there like that either has done this or hasn't done this, you know, it's such a weird thing because like for instance, and I know for me personally, I've given a lot of my friends cards and decks before to try and get them into it. Right?
Yep.
And then seeing their reaction when they start opening packs is fucking beautiful. Because you slowly start to see the mind start ticking, where like they'll open a pack and they get like 2 or 3 cards in, and then they stop for a moment and they read a card, and then they kind of look at you, they read the card again, and you can tell that they're sitting there going, I want to ask him if I can use this in my deck, but I don't want to make it seem like I don't know what the fuck I'm doing because he did give me all these cards, right? But then, like, when they do start getting it and they get that card, or they get that one, like, that you get those few cards, or they get that legendary that they know is a good one, you know, it's like, it's such a fucking cool thing, bro. Like,
Well, and I remember. So for me, it all started. I was in freshman year of college. I was, downstairs mingling in the dorms, trying to, make some new friends. And there was this one guy that was part of our friend group, and he played Magic. And I was like, "Oh, what's that? I'm kind of a nerd. I'm interested. Like, I just want to see what you got." And his dad was like a neurosurgeon for animals, and like he was obviously taking the fast track to getting a lot of cards because his dad would just buy booster boxes and they would crack them, crazy shit like that. And I was like, well, I'm gonna go buy some packs. I want to see what I can pull. This was Battle for Zendikar, was the set I started playing in, or the first set of packs I bought, and I got a foil Ulamog.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
And at that time, I had no clue,
Yeah, you just got a shiny card. You got a cool looking shiny card. You're like, fuck yeah!
and he sees that and he just freaked out. He was like, dude, that's worth like $80 at that time, because knowing standard when it was actually relevant, that card was super expensive. He was like, I'll trade you. What do you want? And I was like, well, I don't have any cards, so how about you make me a deck and I'll give you the cards. So that was kind of the deal. So from there, next thing you know, we built a classic mono green stompy deck. It was just,
I kind of feel like that's
go-to start.
Yeah, exactly. The go-to starter, I feel like, is one of three, right? It's either the mono green stompy, it's the black kill deck, or it's just a burn deck.
Maybe a life gain, but even then, at that point in time, too, like, it's like, okay, well, it's just to your point, something very simple, and just, hey, learn the basic interactions, tapping lands, playing things, whatever, right? And then since then, as you're aware, I think at one point or another, I was like, yo, Greenwood, look at all these freaking cool things I'm doing with Magic, and you were like, oh, I play Magic too. And then I was like, we played a bunch. That was a lot of fun playing 60 card constructed, just homebrew bullshit. That was good stuff. And then since then, as I've been telling you recently, like I play Arena, just kind of at this point in time, just doing constructed ranked, and then dailies, essentially just to grind to get better cards for builds. And then my go-to format that I play consistently at this point in time is Modern, and then if I got buddies around, we'll play Commander, which is a really good just social format. But yeah, for me it's a big part of kind of what I do in my free time if I'm not hanging out with people or doing something outside or whatever. Like during the winter with COVID, it was hard, but this year I fully intend on going to the card store as much as possible. I don't know if you knew about that, but with COVID, they actually Wizards just stopped all in-game play.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was looking at, because it was one of the things I remember I used to watch every now and then, was I'd go online and watch drafts and watch the pros draft. And they're all at the table and they're all drafted, and it's like just a camera over like one of the guy's shoulders, and it's just him, and it's them talking about what he's doing and how he's doing it and why he picked this card, why he didn't pick this card, and let's take a quick look at the rest of the table, see what everyone else is doing, like that sort of thing. And I went and looked at that, and everything that I saw was just pros just drafting on Arena. And I'm sitting there like, man, that sucks. Like, oh,
yeah, when COVID was at its peak, a lot of card stores took a hit. And people basically went to Arena and MTGO, which is the online equivalent to the paper format, but it's essentially the same thing, just using a kind of old archaic platform. And you can play a lot of the, like I was telling you the other day, a lot of the older sets, and a lot of the older metas, Modern and Legacy, Vintage, etc.
Well, that's one of the things I was going to say, is that that's kind of one of the things with arenas that I feel like kind of sucks a little bit, is just how far back it goes. I mean, obviously, as the years go on from now on, that's going to be. I don't think they're going to remove anything. Like, I don't think they're going to remove Kaladesh Remastered and, like, all those lower ones. I think they still leave them there. They're just going to continue to just add on and just, you know. I think eventually what they'll do is they'll add on, but they'll bring back some of those the older sets and just call them Remastered.
Yeah, that's what they. I don't know if you've looked at it, the anthologies, and you'll see too.
Yeah, I saw some of the I saw some of the historic stuff, but I'm still sitting there and I'm like, I was like, oh, just give me back, just give me fucking the whole Tarkir block, like just put that on there.
Yeah,
you know?
and that's what they've been doing though with the anthologies and with some of these like reboot sets. Is basically Wizards sits down and they say, okay, what sets or what cards can we bring back into the arena format that aren't going to break it? Like, for example, as you could probably imagine, you know, if you took some of the major sets, like the ones that like Snap and Jace and stuff like that were, and then it's like, okay, well, you better make fucking Modern a format on arena, or otherwise it's like, what are we doing here?
Well, that's the thing is that, like, so, I think for me it feels like it's a missed opportunity to a point.
Oh, totally.
You know,
totally.
Because it's one of those things where, like, you know, speaking of like where we started. When I first started playing, I was in England. I was a kid. I saw one of my friends on the bus. We were going somewhere. We were going to like some fucking like some castle or some bullshit. On like a trip, right?
School
some school trip, going to some like castle or some fucking, you know, oh, some prince lived here, you know, that sort of bullshit. And one of my friends on the bus had some fucking cards. I'm like, what are you playing? And he's like, hey, this is for grown-ups. You're not allowed this. I'm like, fuck you. What are you playing? You know, like that sort of thing. And that's how I got into it. And then from then, I bought. I started with Odyssey. Odyssey was the first one. Was the whole Odyssey block. Odyssey, Onslaught, Scourge, Torment, Judgment. That whole little area there. I know there's one that I just missed, but you know, I started there.
Old school.
Exactly.
I like it.
Like the old basically right around.
Like old school, but then some people were like, "Oh, those were so like new," because they're playing back when the alpha came out.
Exactly.
Like,
right. Yeah. You know, and then
if he was playing.
Yeah. Right. And then back in my day. Back in my day, there was no legend rule, and that was a fact. Back in my day, there wasn't a legend rule. That just goes to show how fucking old I am playing the game. But, like, I remember there, I played from there, basically religiously all the way up until the end of Ravnica. And then when Ravnica ended, that's when I was getting ready to go to college. And I was like, I'm not doing this in college, focusing on football, you know, I'm going to do the football thing and the school thing. And, you know... And then when I came back home, I had some friends from high school still that were like, hey, you know, we still kind of play every now and then. Do you want to play? And I was like, I don't fucking have any cards anymore because I sold them all. You know, you should know I sold them to you guys. And then that's when I got back into it. Got in for the Tarkir block. I was around about the same time.
That's hell of a block to get in.
Well, that was the thing is that, like, you know, I left on, in my opinion, one of the coolest sets in the multicolor Ravnica sets. And then when I came back to it, it just so happened to be another multicolor set that involved dragons. You know, and like I was talking to John earlier about it because I got him into Arena now as well.
Nice.
So we were talking about it. I was reading in Bolster, Outlast, Dash, like all the mechanics from Tarkir, and he's like, that sounds broken, and I was like, that's because it is broken, John. Like, and I said to him, I was like, but that's the thing, that's what this set did, was it said that, like, this dragon class, like, this is their mechanic, and everything that they do is this mechanic. And I was like, that was a really cool thing that they did, because they stuck to their fucking guns. And they didn't say, like, oh, this is it, but it kind of changes, I guess. No, it was, this is fucking it. Done.
Yeah, I think, so, it's interesting. I think I showed you this card, Ragavan. That's a more recent, Ragavan Nimble Pilfer. It's a recent card that Wizards released in Modern Horizons 2, which is essentially a set that's focused on the modern format, and that card's very good and honestly one of the main cards in the meta right now. It's a dash, but the thing that's interesting is, so like I remember playing you with your dash deck, and it was like, okay, gonna dash in a thing, and then it's like, well, I can't remove it sorcery speed stuff because it's not my turn, right? And it's like, well, what do I do? But now, what people are doing is they're dashing in Ragavan late game, and it's definitely the entire mechanics a lot more, I would say, fitting in a lot of the kind of control matchups and stuff. So it's pretty cool to see that mechanic's still active, even, you know, it's a long time since a dash card's come out.
Oh, yeah,
mind you, it's like the only dash card in the set, but it's very good,
and that's one of the things that I wanted to bring up, because I had a few just different kind of basic things that I wanted to hit with this, right?
Yep.
Because Magic the Gathering is fucking, came out in the 80s, late 80s, I want to say.
Something like that.
You know, so like, really, it's one of those things, we can talk about this shit for fucking hours, like literally hours. Yeah. So I wanted to do it so it was you know, not an hours long talk. If we want, we can do it again later on down the road. You know, episode.
Oh sure,
blah, 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 blah. You know, this is Magic the Gathering Part 2. But you know, like, one of the things I wanted to bring up was because I've been getting back into it, right? Simply just because of Arena. Literally, the only reason why I've gone back into Magic is because of Arena. You know, free on the computer. Very simple. It's free on the computer. It's just
cool.
Well, and it's one of the things as well where it's like, you know, when you don't have a card shop or a group of people to play with, on Arena you always have people to play with because it's just going to put you against someone.
Oh, totally. Not to mention too, you can do like, you can challenge your buddy. Like me and my buddy Zach will oftentimes like. Play occasionally.
Yeah, me and Jagger have played on and off before, you know.
Yep.
So like, you know, so but one of the things that I noticed recently with this is, so you know me, I always like to be kind of, you know, like when I built the Obzon deck that I had, you know, I adjusted it, modified it, and I had it so it was standard, mod, and ready. Like that's it.
Sure.
Done.
Yep.
Right. I had all the other bullshit decks that I had, you know, like the Great Wall deck. You know, I had the you know, the Mercenary deck. I had my Land Destruction deck. All these bullshit decks, right? But my Obzon deck was the one that I built strictly so, like, if you and me did go to a tournament, or if we did go to some sort of, you know, thing like that, right? Some sort of competition, I can play a good deck. I know what it is. I feel confident in it.
Yep.
So it's. What I was going to say with Arenas is it's interesting seeing that format still, right, with Standard, being like, okay, so this is what Standard is, okay, you know, and then looking and being like, okay, well, they're changing Standard in September, so it's only going to be these ones, so there's no point in me looking at these order sets, let me just look at these 4, and then I look at the 4, and then I go, there's almost no mechanic to build around anymore. And I thought that was very kind of weird and interesting, coming from, like I said, me leaving after Ravnica, where Ravnica was literally about nothing but 2 colors and mechanics for each one of them. Coming back in Tarkir, where it like, yet again, multicolors, mechanics, to coming back now where it's like there are multicolors, there are, you know, monocolors, but like they aren't mechanic based anymore, it seems like.
And I think what you'll see, so the relevant sets currently that are in Standard are the new Dungeons and Dragons one, Strixhaven, Kaldheim, Zendikar, Rising, Core, which is just a bunch of shit, Ikoria, Theros, and Throne. So of those sets, there are mechanics that are part of them. It's just, to your point, like, for example, let's look at the blocks. I think that's maybe more of what you're getting at, right? What are the blocks? Because that's something that I do think Wizards has kind of gotten away from. So, like, for example, if you look back to, like, historic sets that are legal, we have a Monket, and you also had, what was the other one? There was a Monket, and there was one other set. I'm blanking on it. Yeah. Or no, not Kaladesh.
It was the other Egyptian-based set, right? Yeah. That's when I stopped fucking playing.
I'm looking it up right now because it's bugging the shit out of me.
Well, that was like one of the things that I was talking with Jagger recently about was that the whole sets versus blocks sort of thing. Like if you look recently, it feels like they did everything to get to War of the Spark, and then after War of the Spark, they were just kind of like, okay, now we're just going to kind of do a couple things here and there, and like I looked at the
Elixalon.
There we
Ixalan?
go. Yeah, that one. Right. So that one had like a 2-set block. And while looking at it today, because I just got bored and I was looking at stuff, I saw, it's like there's pirates, there's pirate mechanics, there's merfolks, there's dinosaurs, there's this thing. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, so at least there's creature, things, right? Like you can build creature decks, you can build decks around this, this one idea, or this, like I'm going to build a pirate deck, I'm going to build, like a green-red pirate deck, or a red-black pirate deck, or, like that sort of thing. I'm going to build a dinosaur deck, or I'm going to build, and it, like I was saying, was like with the most recent, because I'm only looking at the most recent 4 right now. Zendikar, I think, is Zendikar Rising. Is that the...
Yeah, Zendikar Rising. Yeah. Yep.
That one I don't even really look at because it doesn't intrigue me. And that's just me personally.
What? Oh, it's so good.
Kaldheim, well, that's the thing. Kaldheim's the one that intrigues me the most out of all of them.
Well, yes. So I think that's the thing, though, right? Like, I 100% agree with you in the fact that, like, the Viking theme is awesome. It's, like, cool. Magic is doing another thing where it's, like, back then they used to have Kamigawa, and that was, like, ninjas. It's like, well, now there's Kelheim, there's Vikings. Like,
well, so
fuck yeah.
The thing with that is it's that, but then also the other thing is that, like, it's not a mechanic thing, but, like, the fact that you can build monocolored decks out of it, but then you can build monocolored decks that have splash in them.
Yeah.
But then you can do that multiple different ways is what intrigues me the most. Like, so the main deck that I said that I talk about that I have is my green-black deck, and it's an elf deck.
Yeah. Yep.
But I splash black for, like, there's 2 black cards in it. That's it. The other black cards are like multicolors.
Sure.
So it's like it's basically just a green fucking elf deck. But I splash black for these, specific things, right?
Yeah. I guess I would pivot back a little bit. So getting back to, I finally found the name of the other set. So a Monket block was a Monket the set, and there was also Hour of Devastation.
Hour of Devastation. That's
So I actually played in Standard when Hour of Devastation was active. I played that, and then I also played in Standard when Dominaria and when Guilds of Ravnica and War of the Spark were active, and a little bit in the Throne. But I guess what I'd like to piggyback on, so Ravnica, there was an actual recent Ravnica block, which was Guilds of Ravnica and Ravnica Allegiance. With Ixalan, there was an Ixalan block. There was Rivals Ixalan and Ixalan. With Kaladesh, there was just Kaladesh, but with the Monket, there was those 2 sets. So, like, if you want to get these mechanics that are, like, if you want to have enough cards to build around a mechanic and then use, like, maybe a couple bits and pieces, like some control, some removal, like maybe some just gas for whatever deck you're building, that's what's nice, because then you have, like, a solid thing you can build around with all these little additional tools that in your tool belt. Right now, you got a pile of shit. The only concise thing in Standard right now is Core Set. Yeah. Right? Because Core Set is just a bunch of stuff that's relevant.
Well, in Core, like, especially, when you think about it, right, you're thinking about being able to make a deck that has either an identity, a mechanic, or, like, some sort of play style, right?
Yeah.
Core is always going to have one of those no matter what.
Exactly.
Because you can easily go, okay, I'm going to make a core deck. I'm going to make a deck. It's going to be mono. Let's just say white. You tell me you're not going to have enough mono white cards to make a deck that's precise around. It's like, okay, let's go life gain with some angels, and then let's get some.
Exactly. You got life gain. You got angels. You also have some themes of, like, tokens, right? You also have, like, knights. There's definitely a number of different things going for you in that, but the thing is that's one set. There's only so many cards, and then you got all this random shit. So, like, right now, the decks that I've seen, at least, that are running control, are all in like historic. I don't see any control decks really in standard. The only thing I'm seeing in standard is like aggro, because the reality of it is you can play aggro no matter what you have for cards, whether there's a mechanic or not. It's get things out fast and dirty, right? Like,
well, and that's one of the things that, like, because of course, like, you know me, I like to build my own decks. I don't like to look up decks. I don't like, so like I was looking at something recently, and I wasn't even looking for decks. I was just looking at trying to look at cards, and I came across, it's like, these are the top 10 decks, and every one of them said aggro in it. I'm sitting there like, for fuck's sake, like, really? Like,
oh yeah, and I think that's the thing, right? To your point, standard right now I think is kind of a mess, but I think if you also look at the player base, not many people are playing standard. So if now what I will say is standard's fine. It's a great it's a great format to get into starting off, especially because while there is a rotation, you're probably going to be able to build a standard deck much cheaper than you could build a modern deck. Not always, but usually. So, and then I think if you're playing on Arena, my opinion, and I've talked to you about this, I think Historic's really the way to go, because you have access to all of the cards.
Yeah.
And with that too, because you have access to all the cards, you have so much more flexibility in what you can play, right? Like my decks that I have, my top decks, I have a life gain deck, which is pretty simple. I have a mill deck, which I shared with you, which you kind of inspired me to brew up. Mono black aggro, it's kind of like an aggro mid-range deck, very simple. Mono green elves, very simple. The only, like, I guess kind of meta decks that are kind of out of these more recent sets, I have a mutate deck, which is exactly what it says, and I have a cycling deck, which again is exactly what it says.
I'll say this: I think the mutate is the I fucking hate people that run mutate decks. If I start playing against someone that's running a mutate deck on arenas, I literally like concede within a couple turns, because I'm just like, I'm so fucking fed up with this shit.
This deck that I built, it's pretty much a meme deck. I'll just kind of describe it briefly here, just for people to kind of imagine. Essentially, you play a bunch of mutate things, which the way it works is you mutate onto a single creature, so you stack up, kind of like boggles, you stack up on one creature, but every time you mutate, it triggers a bunch of different abilities. So the deck that I play, which you might have seen, it plays a card called Auspicious Sterix, and essentially once you've mutated that onto a very large stack, you put X cards from your library onto the battlefield. And so I will play that card and put like 3/4 of my entire deck onto the battlefield. And one of the cards is called Colossification. It's a giant cat enchantment. It gives enchanted creature +20/+20. And when it comes in, you have to tap enchanted creature. But then I play a card called Glimmerbell, which you can pay to and untap. So basically, you have Glimmerbell out. You Auspicious Sterix for 1 billion, put out the Colossification, untap, and then swing for 20-something with a flying jellyfish.
Jesus Christ. That's
so dumb.
Fucking awesome. I love it.
To your point, like, because of some of these recent sets, while I will say there are definitely a lot of things that mess up standard, there are also a lot of really powerful cards. Like, Ikoria brought also the Companions, which are very huge. Companions are being played, specifically Luris is being played not only in historic but also modern too.
I was gonna say I saw, what was that? I was playing. They recently just gave us a bunch of you could do one for free sort of thing. Draft for free that involved a campaign and companion. Because I got one, and I'm sitting there like, I don't know what the fuck this is. I don't know how to use this. I'm just gonna like, I that's exactly what it was. It's like I didn't use it, didn't know what it was. I just kind of, I was like, and that's so like,
it's crazy because you always have the card, and so as long as you announce it in Arena, it automatically happens. But if you're playing in a in-person format, you have to say, I'm playing Luris this turn or whatever.
That's fucking weird. But,
yeah, that's just how it works. But you always have it. So because you always have it, it gives you this one card that you can always count on, unless, someone's playing control, they could counter it if they play it. But specifically with Lotus, right? There's a lot of, in the modern format, there's a lot of permanents that get played. And they're like 1-drop, 2-drop permanents, like Ragavan, Dragon Rage Channeler. And so what happens is there's decks that build around this card, and they literally just keep playing their deck over and over again because anything in the graveyard just comes right back. Right? And they're just very powerful. And if you ever listen to any Pro Tour or like just people who play Magic a lot, they're always like, yeah, these frickin' things, they're so broken.
Well, so like with me saying about the mechanic thing, the biggest thing that pissed me off recently about it, and it was one of the things like me and John were looking at it earlier and trying to figure it out, was Strixhaven. Strixhaven to me felt like looking at the cards, looking at it, there's a lot of really cool looking cards, a lot of really good looking cards in that set.
Yep.
However, I feel like it's a huge missed opportunity because every house feels the exact fucking same.
Yeah, so what I would say, and this is
looking through it, right?
Yeah.
I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, we're talking about dual color houses. You know, and each one of them being really specifically unique and different. But meanwhile, all of their mechanics are just this, like, it's all the same as just get out a creature token, but guess what? Each house's creature token is different.
Yep.
And I was like, that's the big thing? Like, really? Like, that's the, like...
In my opinion, there's, recently there's been 3 sets that I've actually felt that Wizards did a good job making recently.
Okay.
The first one is probably Modern Horizons 2, which came out recently.
And it's not
the second one is Commander Legends, which is Commander. And the third one is Zendikar Rising. And the reason why I say Zendikar Rising, which is on Arena, is because of the fact that it does a great job of hitting at the roots of what Zendikar is supposed to be. And it also brings back that lush green land theme that is what makes Zendikar.
Okay.
When also, I will say too, the elemental theme gives a very strong mechanic towards, or not so much mechanic, but very strong deck building around elementals. And I think, like, in my opinion, that set, if you look at it holistically, looking at all the cards, it looks really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Strixhaven, like, 100% agree with you. It's a mess. The whole lesson thing, perfect example of a quote-unquote mechanic that is useless. Because it's like I have a couple lessons cards. Cool. Well, same with the frickin' Dungeons and Dragons set. Okay, I have a couple dungeons and a couple things I can do.
And that's I get what they were trying to do with those 3, right? Because I'm putting all 3 of them together because I feel like now with the future and you know, we're getting 2 back-to-back Innistrad sets. Beautiful.
Coming up.
Thank fucking God. Right? We're getting 2 sets that can build off of each other at least.
You're getting a block for once.
Yeah, right. Well, that's the thing, right? I think that I like that they were like, okay, let's do something different. The problem is, though, is that when they did that, they didn't actually really make too much different. Like I said, with Kaldheim, I thought Kaldheim was a beautiful set, which honestly I think can hold up just by itself. I don't think it needs a secondary set or it needs to be in a block. I think by itself, a one-off set, I think it's good for what it is, right? It adds it brings back snow, which was just kind of a cool thing. It adds a bunch of different snow, like instant sorcery, enchantment, like that sort of thing, which, you know, it adds in a bunch of cool new gods, adds in some, you know, cool new characters to the game. There's some pretty neat cards in there. And I like the fact that some of the cards I liked were, like, there's one, it's mono green, and it's like a beatdown card, right? I fight your creature. However, if I have 3 snow permanents, it gets +1 and it can't be killed.
Yeah.
Like, little shit like that is a nice little change up to make it block seem unique. Right,
I agree.
With Strixhaven was like, it felt like there needed to be at least one or two more.
So, just speaking of like memorable cards, just for standard, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Strixhaven, when I think Strixhaven, the only cards I think about are the Mystical Archive cards. Want to know why? Because money. I can go spend $300, buy a collector's box,
mm-hmm.
and I can get a lot of pretty stuff for my control deck.
Mm-hmm.
or my commander decks. I don't give a crap about, but I guess the only other card that I like out of this set is Clever Luminancer, because it's good in my red-white aggro deck. But like, there's a couple select cards that are okay, but to your point, there's no big whammy heavy hitter, and there's no like the whole lesson learned thing just isn't enough.
Well,
right?
That's the thing, right? Is like you were saying with it, is they introduce a mechanic that, in all opinion, is kind of cool, because it makes you have to use a sideboard. Because I've never fucking used a sideboard in my entire fucking life.
Yeah, I mean, if you play competitively, you have to, and you get used to
right?
it. But that's a different thing.
But like with this, though, it makes you use one, and it doesn't feel like a sideboard. Instead, it just feels like you're making a 75-card deck now.
Yep.
But 15 of them don't actually like hurt you, type thing.
Mm-hmm.
So like that was my thing with that. I was like, that's a cool mechanic. And then like when I was trying to, because of course you can just start adding cards and eventually just slowly start crafting them or getting them, and then you have the deck fully made. So I started making like a silver quill deck, because I was like, white black. That's I understand white black.
Yep.
Kill life gain. Beautiful. Let's get it. Right.
Yep.
And out of all the combos, that's the only one that I actually kind of really felt like I liked as well. With I think it was Witherbloom was the other one, which was green black, But like anyways, so I'm looking at it, I'm like, cool, okay. It says, all right, I have a few cards in here that are learn cards, so I need to add some lessons to this. So then I go and look, and like, there's like fucking 3 lessons, and I'm sitting there like, what the fuck am I supposed to do then? Like, it's like
what is this?
Like I said, it feels like Strixhaven was like Strixhaven is the Harry Potter world in Magic. But it's only the first movie.
Yeah, and
then we move on to Dungeons and Dragons. Like,
but what I would say too is like, and this is I would say Kaldheim has more bombs, more playable cards out of the most recent 3 sets than the other 2. I 100% agree with you there. I think so far for me, the only playables I've actually really liked out of the Dungeons and Dragons sets were the Manlands, like Cave of the Frost Giants, and
so that was one of the things I was talking with, it was in someone else's chat while they were streaming, but they even said they're like the new set's kind of meh.
Yeah,
and that's the thing, is that like it feels weird that you're saying that a Magic the Gathering Dungeons and Dragons crossover is meh. That feels like it feels like a very weird thing to have to say, right?
Yeah, and again, it's coming back to who made the set, right? So like the most recent sets that I bought boxes of, I bought a lot of boxes of Modern Horizons. I think I bought a collector's box, or not a collector's box, but like 3 booster boxes, and then I bought Commander Legends, and I bought Zendikar, but like. Good luck getting me to buy a box of Adventure of the Forgotten Realms. Good luck with Strixhaven. Good luck with Kaldheim.
Yeah, I mean, like, I will say this right now on because of course I did this just on my Amazon cart right now. I do have a Kaldheim set booster box.
I would say out of the 3, if I did buy a box, it would be Kaldheim, and it would be because it's cheap as shit.
Yeah. Oh, like my thing was like, I was looking at it. I think I may have even picked the wrong fucking thing. Oh no, this is of course because they've changed the booster pack thing up now. I can't wait to tell.
There's so many different reasons to buy.
I can't wait to fucking tell John about that and fucking blow his brain. What do you mean there's a $20 booster pack? Yeah, John, there's a $20 booster pack now.
Don't buy any collectors for anything except for, you could buy for Strixhaven because you get the Mystical Archive.
I have one pack in my Amazon cart right now of Kaldheim, and
I think that's Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know, but like for me, I was more looking at it because it's like, you know, like I said, I like the Kaldheim set. I think it's cool. I think the Viking, you know, the Viking theme behind it is cool. You know, and like I said, I have like 150, maybe $200 worth of stuff. You know, because it's like one booster pack, you know, collector booster pack, a booster box, and then it's a wall scroll for back here. Right, literally, like on the wall, that's a card, and then there's a play mat of a card. And I was like, that's fucking cool looking. Like those two things are cool looking, and then the rest of it's just for my own, you know, entertainment sort of thing.
Yeah, no, and that's fine. I guess what I'm saying is like, for one thing I would say that we should talk about now that you brought it up, is definitely like the different sets for people that are new to the game now, which is something that you'll see for older sets. Wizards was not doing, but now you have draft booster boxes, you have set booster boxes, and you have collector booster boxes. And if you go on Wizards' website, they clearly define and say what everything is. I will also add too, for double masters, there was a VIP booster pack, which is $100 pack that you could buy, which is in a box. But the thing that I'm getting to here is Wizards is smart. They're actually making a lot of money now with this sealed product because they know that people like shiny stuff.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is like if you do, I mean, and especially you look at the certain things that you get.
And I will say too, like, a booster box is better than a set box. Some people might get confused on that, but the booster box is going to have more of the playables. It's going to generally have more of the occasional like fancy art hitters. But if you're like me and you really like Zendikar, you're gonna maybe splurge and get a collector's booster box, right?
And that's the thing, right? Is like I think they did a good job. Oh, no, I won't say a good job. I think they did a job, right? Of, you know, kind of being like, okay, not everybody just plays our game. There's people out there that literally buy our cards to try and resell them and, you know, make money off of them, like that sort of thing.
People have a gambling addiction and they're like, I really like opening things.
Like I was, like I'm like, well, like, and I was showing John on Arena how like there's like you can look and you can like create or craft different versions of each card. Well, not of each card, but of a lot of the cards, and you can get different like looks to them. And I'm sitting there like, that's fucking cool. And then and then of course I know in real life that there are alternate art for certain cards, and that raises the price a little bit. So it's like it's one of those things where it's like I remember I played a guy one of the times I did play like a competitive game in a tournament. Like this guy had a full deck that was like more foreign cards. Because he liked the look of it better. And I'm sitting there like, how the fuck do you? I don't know what the fuck that does. And he's like, I'll tell you what it does. I was like, I don't fucking trust you.
Yeah, that's definitely that's definitely a hard thing that happens. I would say it's interesting too. Wizards is experimenting with different art styles, which I kind of like and kind of dislike. So like it all started with the collector's boxes in Throne of Eldraine, and they were purely just full art. There was no fancy different art. It was just full art, which is simple and fine. And then from there, it expanded into full art cards having different art. So like if you look at Double Masters, the full art cards have amazing different art. Like people are paying $250 for the Force of Will because it's crazy looking, right? But then now you have like it was Modern Horizons 2. They did sketch art, which was weird, and then also like the art that was with this most recent set with Dungeons and Dragons was freaking weird. Like I'm definitely hoping, and I think probably
like that was...
people will agree. It's like some of them are not so appealing, and you'll actually see the prices are cheaper for the shittier art.
That's funny.
Which is funny.
Well, I mean, you're true though. Like, I was looking at, because I was just, like I said, I was bored and I was looking at the different versions, and like that was one of, like, yet again bringing up Call Time again, but like the alternate art for a lot of those were really fucking cool looking.
Oh,
and then like I'm looking through and I'm like, all right, cool. So let's take a look. Let's go look at War of the Spark. I was like, that's got to be really fucking cool, right? And I look, and yeah, it's fucking like stained glass. Yep. I was like, that's cool. I was like, that's fucking really cool. I get to Strixhaven. I'm like, all right, this was just dumb, you know? Like, it was funny looking and seeing just kind of how, like, there was the one thing that I thought was kind of cool with some of the Dungeons and Dragons ones were the ones that made them look like books.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that.
I just thought it was unique because like that is a Dungeons and Dragons thing, right? Like that was the thing that I liked about with the Kaldheim ones. The Kaldheim ones made them look like Norse tablets or like Norse imagery or like the Norse kind of like scripture. Like that sort of thing. So I was like, that's cool because it's relating it to to the thing. With the Strixhaven one, I just think it was just alternate art. I don't think there was any specific unique thing about it. So with D&D, it's like, okay, well, D&D has a lot of different books, and a lot of different this and that, and so like seeing some of them where it's like the card. I think one of the ones I'm thinking of, main ones is a land. One of the frost.
Throne of the Frost Giants or whatever.
No, it's like the Icing Death or Frozen Death, or I feel like fucking idiot because I don't know. But I was just looking at it as well. But like, there's a land basically, and it like I think it was land anyway. Now that I say that, jeez, I could be all fucking wrong. But like, it looked like a book cover though, and I'm like, that's fucking cool looking because it fits the theme to it, sort of thing. Yeah. But then, like, you're 100% right though. There are some cards that's like, that's just bad.
It's like what the heck. Now that I think about it, I guess I did buy a collector's box of the Strixhaven, but I did it because I really liked the Japanese art. I thought that looked really cool. But the normal Mystical Archive ones, I'm like, whatever. Like, it's not amazing. But yeah, that's definitely part of Magic now, though. Like, back in the day, your fanciness was tiny.
Back in the day, you had
shiny.
Yeah, cool. Well, that's the thing, right? Like, it wasn't like every card in the set is shiny. It's like, nah, there's like 5 cards that are shiny, and that's it.
Exactly, but because of that now, you're having people like me who can afford it, who are going out and on sets that they really like the cards that get spoiled. They're like, okay, well, I'm gonna buy a collector's box. I know I shouldn't. I don't think I should, but I really love these cards, and whatever singles I don't get. Whatever, I'll buy them, but then it's pretty sweet with Commander Legends. When I opened that, I got a lot of good hits, like full art mana drains and like stuff like that, and you're just like, whoa.
Because I was thinking
awesome.
I was either going to do the Kaldheim set booster box there, like I said about, or I was going to do just the fat pack. Of course, I know they've changed the name of it now, but I'm forever going to call them fat packs.
Everyone does, yeah.
Wizards, it doesn't matter what you change the name to, it's fat packs. Everyone's going to call them fat packs, they're fat packs. Fat people, we don't care. They're fat packs.
It's what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. Like, who cares? But I was either going to do a fat pack or I was going to do a set booster, and I was thinking about maybe doing an unboxing on the stream with it. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, no, totally.
But
I think it's definitely it's always that thing too for people that are getting into the game. It's like, okay, well, what's the best thing for me to buy financially? And it's really a matter of you just gotta go on TCG or Card Kingdom and you look at the set price, see what the good hitters are, and a lot of the sets actually do go down in value over time for their sealed price for a little while. Maybe some of them are creeping back up. I know like Kaladesh now is more expensive, but it's definitely, my opinion, going out and buying a box if you can is a great experience too. There's just so many packs. I will say though, if you ever opened a collector's box, the first time you do it, it's just exhilarating. It's like literally winning the lottery every pack because it's just so good every time.
Of course, it wasn't a collector's. This was back when it was just a normal booster, but like it was like one of the like the MTG like 15, like 10 or 7 or something like that. One of the older ones when I was in high school. I remember me and like two buddies put money in together to buy a box, and then we separated when we separated the packs out and opened them. And like doing that was the craziest fucking thing, because it was one of those things where like you're opening them and then just out of nowhere it's like, shit, I got this card, but I wanted the card that he has. But he has a like, card that I wanted, and it's like, eventually it's just, like this giant big, ring around the rosy of, it's like, I wish I had that card, or I wish I had this card, And
the next thing you know.
Exactly, right?
Got a deck. But yeah, no, it's definitely, I think, a great thing to get into, and plus there's just so many different ways to play, like Commander and also Brawl, which I don't know if you're familiar with that much. But
I've seen it. You should know by now. I keep my shit very
simple. There's just a lot of stuff going on, but basically like there's kind of creative, more casual type formats. There's competitive, and then of course there's also just like constructed, and you can play if you get buddies to play with. You just play with your friends, hang out, chill, play some cards. I like I've told you a couple times. Usually on the weekends I go. Now it's on Saturdays. I go and I play Modern for 3 or 4 hours, and I'm playing Jeskai Control. It's very, competitive, and by the end of it I'm tired because I've been just thinking so hard for the period of time. But for other people it's like, I'm gonna go play Unstable, and I'm gonna whip up cards and throw shit and do goofy stuff too. So there's just a lot of opportunity, and it's way better than Hearthstone. Just gonna put that in there too. It's just so much better.
Sorry, here, let's start winding this down. Let's do two final questions, right? Each one of us answering them, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's be kind of a cool way to end the first part of this, and like I said, we'll do another one down the line.
Yeah, I think one thing that could be really cool, and we can talk about this a little bit more. I think depending on what you got for schedule, it could be cool to kind of go over new sets and stuff too before they come out or as they're getting spoiled. Maybe at the same time as this or a different time, but that could definitely be a cool opportunity to just talk it over and get people kind of in the conversation if people are interested.
Nice to hear. What is your favorite card?
Oh, jeez.
If you had to pick one card, that's it. You have one card.
I would say probably Atraxa.
Okay.
So are you familiar with that card?
Nope. Go over it with everyone. So I know when everyone else knows it. While you do that, I'm gonna type up my one just so I can get mine up on the screen so I can.
Yeah. So Atraxa is a commander card. It's a commander that came out a little while ago now, 2016. That was the first of a couple pre-con commander decks that I bought. 2016 was marked as the best year for pre-con commander decks, and that deck was like the best deck. I spent a bunch of time listening to people talk about it before I bought the deck, and I was super excited because it was going to be my first kind of like higher end, more competitive CEDH deck. And to this day, it's one of the most fun decks that I play. I've changed it quite a bit, but basically the deck. Well, so the card is Flying, Vigilance, Death Touch, Lifelink. It's a 4/4 for 4.
Okay.
And its colors are green, white, blue, and black. And then at the beginning of your end step, you can proliferate. So if you had any number of counters on any permanents or players, you can basically proliferate them. So some of the most competitive decks, which I do not play, are the infect ones, because essentially you just hit them with infect and then proliferate their infect and kill everyone. But what I play is actually called Super Friends. So it's essentially I just play all the planeswalkers that are good that I can fit into one deck, and it's along with a couple creatures to keep my planeswalker safe. And it's just so much fun because you're playing these insanely powerful cards but it's also not CEDH by any means. And it's just been really fun, doing the homebrew thing, and I would say that's probably one of my most nostalgic and sought after cards.
Okay.
How about you?
So I'm going with a more recent card. Now that I actually started thinking about it, there's a few that I could go with. I'm going with one of my more recent cards. My more recent cards, I mean, for me playing wise. So I'm going with, and you should know this card because I've used it against you, beating you a couple times with it. It's Dragonlord Dromica.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Four colorless, green, white. Legendary creature, Elder Dragon. It can't be countered. Flying lifelink. Opponents can't cast spells during your turn. 5/7. It's everything that represents a card that I would play. And just everything about it. It's a beefy dragon, and it's a flyer. It has lifelink, and you can't do anything while it's my turn. You know, and it's I love the artwork on the card. It's like I said, it's part of the Obzon kind of build that I have. That's my favorite deck, as you know. But easily that's my favorite card. And then, like I said, as I was thinking about it, I almost went with Corrosion Cloud Scraper. Is it Cloud Scraper? Let me take a look here real quick.
That card's not cheap now too. It's like $50.
Yeah,
50 bucks.
Yeah, I used to have fucking 3 of them. 3 or 4 of them. I recently looked at cards. I don't know if I sent you the message or if I sent John the message, but Corrosion Cloud Scraper. It's a fucking 7 colorless, 3 green. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice it unless you pay 2, 13/13. That used to be my big daddy card. God, I miss my old fucking big green deck. So this brings me to my second question. Like I said, the final one to wrap this all up. What's your favorite, most nostalgic deck that you've ever had? And I'm going to go first with this. And mine was my casual big green deck, which literally had emerald medallions. It had all sorts of cards, basically anything to double my land, lower the mana cost of green stuff. And I used to just have fucking Cloud Scrapers, Colossuses, Avatar of Might. I had Revitalizing Wind, I think it was the name of it. Like, I basically anything that was big and anything that could beef up my stuff. I know that I had this is all the older set cards. I can't think of the name of it now, but it was +3/+3, and they gain trample, and then the +7/+7 revitalize. I think it's Revitalizing Wind. Let's see if my brain is still working correctly. Of course I spelled it wrong. Vitalizing Wind. There we go. It's just Vitalizing Wind. A 9-drop. Creatures you control get +7/+7 until end of turn. So I used to drop that in the 3/3 and all my creatures get +10/+10 and trample, and then I swing. And they're already over 7. 5 or 7 each. So it's like, I'm just adding salt to the fucking wound at that point.
It's like, what do you want from me?
Exactly.
It's run you over.
Yes, it's turn 7. I remember it would be it was one of those things where I had a couple cards that said you need to have this much land tapped in order to or sacrifice them, and I would just leave a land tapped over to the side, one land, because that one land counted as 3 or 4 at different points depending on what cards I had out. So just leave it tapped on the side and just there we go. That's just going to permanently stay over there. It's going to permanently be tapped because I'm never going to untap it because that's just.
That's pretty funny.
But yeah, this is.
Does it have to be nostalgic, or could it be just your favorite deck?
It could be this is the thing is I recently looked back through cards. I think this was maybe a couple years ago. I looked back through and this was the deck that I had. I went through and I refound it. I would say 75% of the deck I'd remade. Yep. And then I looked at the price and I'm like, haha, no. That ain't happening. Not today. Yeah, not today, fucking Junior. So it doesn't have to be your favorite deck. It could be a nostalgia deck. It could be your favorite one to play, or just because the other one that I was gonna say was my land destruction deck that I gave you, because that was just the douchiest thing I've ever fucking made in my entire life.
That fucking deck.
That thing was so fucking stupid. For anyone that doesn't know, I specifically went online, and none of these decks you could ever play anywhere. This is just casual playing.
Yeah, it's just I'm gonna make a deck to just make someone hate me.
Yeah, just to be a douchebag. And I made a mono red deck that all it was land destruction. And I I had a pretty good win rate with it, I would say. Really.
I think it was definitely a meta deck. So like, if I was playing something where for example, if I was playing a ramp deck, it's like, well, too bad, I'm gonna out ramp you, and it's not gonna really work. But if I'm playing a normal deck, yeah, like 2024 land deck, yeah, you're gonna wreck me.
It was just like, I remember playing against someone, I forgot who it was, but like there was like 3 or 4 turns in a row where they're playing on land and I'm destroying it immediately after they played it. Like it was it was the douchiest fucking thing I've ever done. I think I made more people quit than I actually won games with.
Oh yeah.
You know, but no, go ahead.
I think probably if I were to do my nostalgic deck, I would probably do, not that I played when these cards were relevant, but I put the deck together, my sliver deck. And so the reason I got into it was they had a foil pre-con essentially that they released at some point, and I bought it, and then I built a commander deck out of it. So it's a Primal Surge commander deck, and essentially what happens is I don't have anything except for permanents in the deck, and I play Primal Surge, and I put my entire deck full of slivers onto the battlefield, and so I just immediately win essentially at that point. Because everything gets haste and double strike and on and on and on, and I can make infinite slivers that are infinitely large, and it's just like you're done. Yeah. and the funny thing too, you know how you were doing potentially gonna play like Thassa's Oracle to like deck yourself. Well, I also play that strategy too. So if I deck myself with that on the battlefield, I also.
So funny thing about that, I actually can't make a historic deck with that, so I scrapped it.
Oh, really?
Yep.
What the heck? Why not?
It said that card is banned apparently.
What about, you should be able to play? Mysteries. That would be illegal.
I completely scrapped it and I said fuck it, and now I have a black rat deck, so I'm gonna start working on. Yeah.
I guess probably Jace is the only other relevant card for that strategy.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't. Like I said, I started making it because of that one card, and then I was like, you know, fuck it. And then I started looking, and I'm like, all right, here we go. Let's do this. Let's do that. And yeah, then I found a bunch of rats, and I'm like, I remember this shit from back in the day.
Oh yeah.
You know, well, of course, half the cards I can't use, but then it's like I've still made it so it's like I can kill literally anything. Which is nice because even if it's a card that has like hexproof or it can be killed, I'm still gonna kill it. You know,
I would say too though, if I could choose on which deck I enjoy playing the most, I would say probably my control deck.
Fair.
Because it's a very different way of playing Magic to be playing control, because the whole time your opponent can feel like they have the advantage and they've lost the game, and they don't even know it, and it's just the best thing. Like, so good. But anyway, it's definitely good chat. I think definitely if we have the opportunity to talk a little bit about some of the new sets and stuff, that could be pretty cool, or anything else in general. I want to go do a league on Arena, and what type of deck should I play or whatever. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, and it's like I said, it's just this is one of those ones that like if we talk Magic, we'd literally just be talking for fucking 3-4 hours.
Exactly. Yeah. And for sure.
Your boy's had a long week, and I got a long week coming up, so I want to keep this shit short, for tonight. But thank you, though, Nick. I do appreciate you coming on. It's awesome talking Magic. Again. Having not talked about it for so long, and like I said, we'll do it again at some point here, and we'll, change it up a little bit, and hit some different things, and like you said, maybe we'll, maybe I'll have Nick back for when the Innistrad stuff comes out, and we talk Innistrad and see what his thoughts are on it.
And I'll hopefully at some point here get my shit together and do a little bit of streaming on Arena. Or either that or some box openings or something.
There we go.
That could definitely be a good time, good way to come back.
I was gonna say that'd definitely be freaking interesting to see. So.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. So I'm gonna leave. I'll leave. You know what? I'll leave the link to your Twitch and everything down in the description.
Oh, thanks, dude.
Yep. You know, like I said, thank you for coming on.
He's gonna see the absence and death of a channel.
No problem. That's what I'm here for. But as always, thank you for stopping by. And depending on where you are, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Still trouble. Stay safe, and we'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Thank you.